Hello, dear students. Welcome. Today's class we are going to learn another interesting lesson that's come under mass media and technology. Under the third chapter, it's the fifth lesson from that mass media and technology. The title is "Don't Touch That Dial." This is one essay, and this essay talks about the impact of watching television towards the kids, uh, especially after watching television, how it is beneficial to the kids, for the students or not. This essay talks about this. Uh, on the other side, this essay is based on the research which was conducted by Daniel Anderson, who tried to prove that television is not a hindrance for learning process of the kids. Especially Daniel Anderson, he conducted a research on television, whether television is beneficial for the kids in shaping the learning nature and developing the creativity of the learners, developing creativity of the kids. He has conducted this research. Being based on that research, this essay has been written by Madeline Drexler. Uh, Madeline Drexler, a famous science and medical journalist, uh, wrote this essay. The title is "Don't Touch That Dial." Now let's start this essay, "Don't Touch That Dial" by Madeline Drexler. This essay is based on the research made by Daniel Anderson, who tried to prove that television is not a hindrance for the learning process of the kids. Here, Anderson, however, does not advocate only the advantage of television. He seems to have presented both positive and negative influence of the television. The parents fear of television because they feel that it rosts their thinking power. Television rosts their thinking power. Television always makes the kids very dull, and it kills their imagination and makes them very blind and dull, cannot think but only see. They have such a perception towards the television. Here Daniel Anderson, he has discussed about this matter in his research. Daniel Anderson, however, the writer tries to prove that TV does not hamper the learning process. It has some social effect on the soft mind of the kids. Definitely, television has a soft effect on the kids' mind, but on the other side, television also beneficial for developing learning process of the kids. The writer is saying that one Daniel Anderson research shows that here Daniel Anderson research talks about watching television doesn't have really drawbacks and doesn't have so much advantages there. So it can be beneficial for the child if they watch some child learning activities channel. If they go on there, then it is really helpful for them to learn. And on the other side, if they go in a wrong channel and if they watch very unnecessary things, definitely it hampers their learning. It disturbs their creativity power as well, and it has directly impact social impact in their mind there. So the conservative people claim that television makes the child so dull that he cannot interpret the world around him. However, Daniel Anderson presents it and argues that television never teaches the creative power of the people. Daniel Anderson clarifies that after watching television, a child does not remain idle, but he rather does many extra things like talking, dancing, singing, and even doing homework. As a result, the child's creativity sharpens there. So it watching television sometimes sharpens the child creativity. So it is not so much bad activities. Watching television is not so much bad. Uh, the writer has given emphasis there, and Daniel Anderson research also shows that. So that is the main idea of this essay. Uh, that is "Don't Touch That All." Now let's go through this summary here. What does the writer want to convey? Main idea of this essay. "Don't Touch That Dial" is an interesting article written by Madeline Drexler, a science and medical journalist. This essay is based on the research by Daniel Anderson, who tried to prove that television is not a hindrance for the learning process of the kids. Generally, the parents fear the television because they feel that it rosts their thinking power, kills the imagination, and makes them dull and blind, cannot think but only see, etc. However, the writer tries to prove that television does not hamper the learning process. It has some social effect on the soft mind of the kids. The writer says there, being based on the Daniel Anderson research. The conservative people claim that television makes the child so dull that he cannot interpret the world around him. However, Daniel Anderson presents it and argues that television never teaches the creative power of the people. While watching television, the child asks curiously about the new things, and as a result, his perception of the world is obviously widened. Similarly, the conservative blame that television has replaced the fun of reading books. They argue that the children of the past used to entertain themselves by reading books, whereas the children of the present time are eager to watch television a lot. Besides, the children seem less interested in reading books, but Daniel Anderson denies this accusation and clarifies that television is not responsible for the apathy of the children for reading books. He has mentioned this idea through this essay, Don't Touch That Dial. The writer argues that the parents must start reading the books in order to attract their children for reading books. How much a child reads a book depends upon how much the parents read the books. Likewise, the conservative blame that due to the TV IQ scores and the school performance of the child has been hindered and Daniel Anderson. But Daniel Anderson challenges the conservative to prove this through the specific research. His argument that the child performance depends on not on TV but on himself. If the child is smart, he give less priority to TV and focuses on reading books. Moreover, the conservative blame that TV makes the child inactive. Nevertheless, Daniel Anderson clarifies that a child does not remain idle, but he rather does many extra things like talking, dancing, singing, and even doing homework. As a result, the child's creativity has sharpens. By rejecting the idea that television is a hindrance in learning process for small kids, the writer gives some recommendation for the parents. He points out that the parents should start reading themselves before blaming their child. Similarly, if the child watches TV a lot, they have to give other alternatives of television. Similarly, the parents must realize that although television does not have cognitive effect, but it certainly has social effect, and therefore the parents should not watch the channels which might create pseudo culture. So that is the problem there. Besides, the parents must not fear with the TV because there are some programs which are beneficial for the small kids. So the role of the parents as well to handle their kids while watching television. Similarly, on the other side, Anderson, however, does not advocate only the advantage of television. He seems to have presented both positive as well as negative influence of the television because he is sure that it is having a major social impact on kids. Towards the end of the essay, the writer has presented Anderson's belief about the social influence of television and his recommendation for parents and guardians in his research. And here in this essay, the writer has mentioned his idea, Anderson idea. So, students, I hope you got the concept. Then we have one more question there. The question is that discuss whether you agree or disagree with the Anderson that television is almost surely having a major social impact on the kids as opposed to cognitive impact. So I agree with Anderson that television is having a major social impact on kids. When the kids habituated to TV, they forget everything. Whatever is presented on the channel may be good for them, but their formal education is hindered without which children can't adjust in the mainstream of the society. You can go through this question for this answer. Students, I hope you got the concept about this essay. Don't touch that dial. That comes under the subchapter that is mass media and technology, and it's the lesson 5 of that chapter. Students, if you have any confusion, don't forget to comment on that my comment section there. And one more thing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Versatile Learning Network channel. I hope to meet you in our next class. Take care. Goodbye.